All right, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls from all over the world, back once again is Mr. Graham with the Troy Graham Experience. And tonight we have a special guest with us. We have the man, the myth, the legend, DC's own, too sharp to be dull, Mr. Mark, Too Sharp Johnson, the two-time champion. Now, hopefully, I get this right. Now, I know he won belts in two different weight classes, and he was a three-time champion. If I'm wrong, Mark, you could go ahead and correct me. But yeah, but step on in here, man, and
But
tell the
but
world
but
about yourself.
well, let me say this to you. Three-time world champion. The first African American in history to win the title at 112 pounds, 115 pounds in the history of boxing. And it's kind of funny, man. You know, Black History Month coming up, so that's my month. The youngest fighter to go in the International Boxing Hall of Fame. You know what I mean? So, boxing for me, man, was my way out, and I broke a lot of records, man. You know, when you become the first, man, it's hard to break the first. So I'm happy for you having me on your show, and just let's get some enlightenment to a lot of the young guys or the older guys that just want to know a little bit about the boxing game.
I tell you what, man, this is what I love about doing this because eh, eh, everything you just mentioned about the first and in the Hall of Fame and everything else. I didn't know that, and I'm 51. We the same age, so yeah, there's a bunch of youngins out there that are gonna learn a lot tonight, right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I tell you, when I first came aware of you, and I'm gonna be honest with you, there was another cat that was fighting at 118 by the name of one Mister Johnny Tapia
Mhm.
back in the day, and it was supposed to be a fight between you two, you and Johnny, but that never happened. But hold on to that. Let's let's talk about how you got into boxing because you came into boxing at a time when DC was a hot area for boxers and boxing and champions. So when did you get into boxing and how did you get into boxing and why?
Well, of course, my dad was a boxing coach. He ran the gym, Ham AC Boxing. I had a brother that was 15 times way better than me. He went to the '84 Olympic trials, lost to Paul Gonzalez. Me and him was in the '88 Olympic trials together. I was the youngest fighter in the history of boxing in Olympic trials at the age of 15. Um, I went to the semifinals. It was my brother fighting Michael Carbajal in '88. I fought Erk Griffin. So the winner of Erk Griffin and Michael Carbajal, my brother, had to fight to see who go to the Olympics. Erk Griffin beat me, but he tested positive for marijuana. But they wouldn't reinstate me to fight the winner of me and my brother. So with the USA boxing politics, they told my father that I wish I would have give you the opportunity for two of your kids to be in it. So when that happened, boom, I got out the Olympic trials at the age of 15. So in '92, my brother had a car accident, went right back to the '92 Olympic trials, and lost in the gold medal round again. But so like I said, I trained with guys like Lewis Hoddy Curtis, who went to the '76 Olympics, Charles Mooney, who went to the '76 Olympics. My dad trained a lot of those guys. So I was always around the best. One of my guys now who's in Dubai, which is we call him Anthony Chili Wheel, Chill DC. Me and Chill Wheel boxed every day, all the time. So not to mention, like I said, at that time my dad had one of the best boxing teams in DC. He went against Burgess, House of Champions, and people like that. And that's when boxing was fun. You know what I mean? Now it's not fun anymore.
Man, I tell you what, man, you dropping some names on us, Michael Carbajal and all that, boy. You dropping some names, but I tell you what, brother, ooh, this is why I love doing it, man. All the stories and everything else. Now, you said you fought at what, 118?
No, I fought at when I turned pro, I fought at 112 pounds. Um,
112, okay.
I never went past 6 rounds in my life. The first time I went to the LA Forum,
Hmm.
I went straight from 6 to 12 rounds. They thought they had me as a B-side guy. I was fighting a guy that just lost for the world title, named Raton Jimenez. He was number two by the WBC. So they thought they was feeding me to the dogs. I said I'll take the fight. You know what I mean? I never went past 6 rounds in my life. I paid my own way out there. They didn't pay me for the purse. They didn't pay for my hotel or nothing because I knew what I had in me. So I paid my own way out there, didn't get paid, and beat them. Right? That was in 1993. I was the number one contender from '93 to '96 before I got a title shot. Now, When I finally got to in 96, I was Danny Romero #1 contender at 112 pounds. Danny Romero gave the belt up, didn't want to fight me. So I knocked out a guy named Francisco Teodoro, who fought Danny Romero to a tough fight, knocked him out in 90 seconds to become the first African American in history to win the title at 112 pounds. Now, when I blew that weight class out, I got to 115 pounds. I was Johnny Tappy #1 contender, God rest his soul, which is a great guy, man. I know it had been a great fight. But guess what he did? Gave the belt up. So, I'm not in the Hall of Fame because I didn't fight the right fights. I'm in the Hall of Fame because they didn't fight me.
You know what you sound like? You sound like a mini Hagler.
I mean, let me say something. That's one of my favorite fighters. I was so happy that he was at the Hall of Fame when I went in, and I asked him. I said, you my favorite fighter, and he called his wife over there, and he said, baby, she said, look who this is, and she said, oh, that's your favorite fighter. That's Two Shop Johnson, and I was like, huh? I'm his favorite fighter, and so I mean, that's how I was. I wanted to make the fights happen, and then when the fights don't happen, you get a little discouraged.
Hey, you know what? You have a question from one of the fans in the chat. Is Puerto Rican Rum said to ask you how he liked fighting in a great the Great Western Forum.
Man, that was the best. Let me tell you something. If you could not fight, listen. If you couldn't fight, you was not going to the LA Forum. Man, that LA Forum made Two Shop Johnson. That's who made me. That forum made me, buddy. That forum was like that. Every Monday night was a war.
Like Gladiator School, baby.
Oh, it was Gladiator School. It was a war. Tell them I said that was a war up there.
Okay, now who'd you fight in the forum, Mark?
I fought Raton Jimenez. I fought I fought like 9 different guys at the forum, man. You know what I mean? The forum is what made Mark Johnson. Those guys, the Hispanics and the Mexicans and the Puerto Rican guys, man, those guys were really made me. You know what I mean? And it's kind of crazy that we hone together, we train together. Even when I was sparring them, they tried to knock my head off though, but they still liked me. You know what I mean? But it was great, man. It was great. It was great at the forum. The forum was great for me.
Okay, now, I got a question for you, because you fought at a weight class that most of the time people did not pay attention to, and you were African American. How did you separate yourself from everybody? And how did Mark Sharp become basically Mark Sharp, where people actually knew you and they didn't want to fight you and they were pulling out of fights and things like that?
Because of LA Forum. When I went to the West Coast, on the East Coast, it was okay. But on the West Coast, when you can make your mark at the LA Forum and you're African American, you made your mark. You know what I mean? It was wonderful. I mean, I'm gonna tell you, man, I love fighting over there because I knew that, if you wasn't in shape, you was gonna get beat. If you lackadaisical, you was gonna get beat. And those guys came in. That's what made me who I am, because those guys came with 100% every day. Even when I was training in the gym in California, they'd come in the gym after work with combat boots on, construction work tomorrow. How many rounds you sparring today? You know what I mean? And those guys was real. Those guys on the West Coast made Mark Johnson.
Okay, now, I used to watch you fight, and I said to myself, some of the things I used to see you do, because you could stand in front of an opponent, Mark. I used to watch you stand in front of an opponent, and you could do your thing, and they couldn't hit you. And I said, he kind of like Sweet Pea in that way, but you had that pop in your punch. You ever hear that from people? That you kind of like Sweet Pea?
Well, I try to mix a little bit of Sweet Pea Whitaker. Of course, I like to have the Camacho, the Flash. Of course, Marvin Hagler, and then of course you got to go back to the old days. You got to at least bring one old guy in there. You know what I mean? And Jersey Joe Walcott was my old guy, man. I like the way he used to do that walk-away uppercut.
That shot right there, you're talking about the walk-away uppercut, is the one he dropped as a Charles with, and that's the same shot that Foreman dropped Cooney with.
Yeah, so I love that shot. I love that walk-away uppercut.
Yeah, because I was watching some of your fights, and I'm like, he looks familiar, like some of your movements that you do.
Man, let me say something.
Yeah.
I left out plenty of them fights. Say your guy who just sent you that message, hey, tell him I left out plenty of them fights at the Forum with headaches. Hey, boy, them guys at the Forum don't play, man. I mean, it's nothing like that no more. Every Monday night, every Monday night it was a war. It was a fight. You know what I'm saying? I'm sad for my guy just passed away, Sammy Fuentes. He fought at Caesar's Palace with me, and he fought a guy named Hector Lopez. And I'm talking about one of the bloodiest brawls I ever seen. It was Sammy Fuentes and Hector Lopez. They fought at Caesar's Palace, and I was on that show. That's one of the knockdown brawls I ever seen.
Okay, now, I got another question because you came along at a time when boxing was hot in DC, champion after champion after champion. How did you make your bones and pull away from the pack, man? Because you had Joppy, you had Simon, you had Maurice, you had etc. How did you pull away from the pack, brother?
I just think me, like I say, I think me going to the West Coast is what pulled me away from the pack. Like I say, I was around guys that, Jorge Paez, Marco Antonio Barrera, all those guys, man, we fight together like when Floyd Mayweather beat Janero Hernandez. I was around some of the best guys in the lower weight class that you ever can, Paul Banky, all those guys. So I was around the best guys on the West Coast. So I guess that's what took me to another level. You know what I mean? So I came back to DC and trained, and I was telling those guys, man, hey, gotta go out LA, man. It's totally different.
And I tell you what I liked about you when you got someone on the ropes. You took your time. I could see your eyes moving, and you were like, "Okay, well, I'm gonna touch him there, and then I'm gonna come back here with a hook and hurt him." You took your time. You didn't just rush in. Who was your coach, brother? Who was your coach that taught you all that finesse and everything?
My dad, man. My dad. I had one camp my whole career. My dad, my oldest brother James Harris, my oldest brother Chris Ray, and my cut man Tyrone Russell. I had everybody. I had the same camp. Throughout my whole career. I never changed nobody. So, and my cousin Reggie Brown. So I never changed nobody my whole camp. So, I knew who I could talk to, who I couldn't talk to. If I knew I had a bad day, I know who to talk to, who I shouldn't talk to. So, that was good about me. I kept my same camp.
Yeah, because okay, well, I'm gonna drop some names on you, and I'm gonna see if you remember them. There was an African brother who was in your weight class at the time by the name of Kid Akeem.
Well, Kid Akeem,
yeah.
I was a little I was a little younger then, but okay. I was a younger then, but 115, 112, 115 was really my weight. When I did try to go to 118, I was a little older in my career, and I lost Rafael Marquez and Johnny Gonzalez. So the first fight I fought Rafael Marquez, I won a 12-round decision. They came back an hour later and said I lost the fight. So, I gave Marquez a rematch, and he stopped me in the 8th round, which I was winning all 7 rounds. But just in that weight class, I was too small. And then I went back down to 115 and, won the title again. Against Fernando Montiel. So I knew 112, 115 was my weight. I should have never been at 118. But, we're going to try our hand.
Yeah, you know what? You sound like a friend of yours, man. Hopefully he'll pop up today. One Mr. Donaire, man.
Listen, man. Hey, man, one of my best friends, man. Man, I'm real cool. We talked the last time I was at the Hall of Fame in Vegas. We had a good time. We talked. He said he was gonna bring me a camp to help with him. So we see how things go.
Okay, now I'm trying to think of something like if you could have like your dream fight. At what weight class would it be? A fly, at a junior banter? Who would your opponent be?
My dream fight would have been a winner of Chiquita Gonzalez and Michael Carbajal. That was a good fight. Chiquita Gonzalez told me that he was gonna fight me. He was tired of me, but he lost to Simone Sachalorone, and it's kind of crazy. African Americans speak these names like this, but he had lost to Simone Sachalorone, and that blew that up. But my dream fight would have been a Michael Carbajal, a Johnny Tabby. I think those guys was the smallest guys that came up, was the first $1 million payday. Of course, I wanted to get in that round Robin Hood game. I don't know, just like boxing right now, I don't know if the form was that strong, even though the form had Chiquita Gonzalez. And I don't know if they was that strong, just that they couldn't do business with Top Rank. And you see a lot of business that's going on right now with a lot of fighters that can't do business with other promoters. So, I mean, I think a lot of that had a lot to do with that.
Go ahead and touch on that foolishness, because I really hate that. Oh, you can't cross the street. You got to cross the street. No, talk about that foolishness, please. I mean, because we the same age. I don't remember hearing that back in the day.
It's not, it's really not foolishness. You know what I mean? It's just like, boxing to me is like organized crime. If you're not with the right family, then you're not going to get the right fights. You know what I mean? If you with the right family, you're going to get the right fights. You're going to get the right, everything that you're supposed to get. You know what I mean? So I just look at it like when Don King came abreast, Don King, he had his son managing, his daughter managing, but he was the promoter. So, if you wasn't dealing with Don, you wasn't fighting none of Don fighters unless, he knew, his fighter was going to beat you. You know what I mean? And it goes the same way now when you're dealing with, you got Showtime and PBC and you got Top Rank. And, you don't want this belt to get over there because the belt may not get back. I mean, this is things that been happening from the nick of time, So to me, it's no surprise to me. You know what I mean? It's no surprise that certain fighters can't get certain fights. You know what I mean? I tell people like this. You look at me, I was rated #1 since 93 to 96. So their job was, okay, in 3 years, he got to lose. We ain't got to deal with him. First of all, he's African-American. He can box. He's southpaw. I'm not southpaw. I'm right-handed, man. You know what I'm saying? I'm right-handed. But y'all keep looking for the left hand, but it's this right hook right here, baby. You know what I'm saying? My strong hand is my jab hand. I'm right-handed. Y'all got tricked. Y'all got tricked. You know what I mean? So,
yeah.
So they got tricked looking for the left hand, but it's the right hook. That's why I was looking for that right hook all the time you talk about. But you gotta look at the game, and this is what I tell people all the time. You look at Errol Spence, right? I'm a big fan of Errol Spence. I'm a big fan of the whole welterweight division. You know what I mean? And you look at Errol Spence. Before Errol Spence got involved, like I call people the round Robin Hood game, he was crying. He was trying to get his way in. I'll fight Danny Garcia. I'll fight Lamont Peterson. I'll fight, Sean Porter. I'll fight everybody. Right? It wasn't your time. Timing is everything. So when his time came up, what'd he do? He ain't fight none of them. I'll say, okay, well, this is what we're going to do. Go cross seas, get that belt, bring it on back. Now you're in a round Robin Hood game. He went and got that belt, came back. Now where he at? He running around Robin Hood game. You know what I'm saying? Like I tell everybody about Bruce Enos. He'll be a welterweight champ. It's just not his time. Timing is everything.
Hold on, Mark. Yeah, Mark, sorry about that. Yeah, that's the truth. But, we got to have a discussion about this because as I was saying, man, I understand back in the day that not all fights got made. I mean, anybody who tells you that is lying to you, right? But it seems like in this era, none of the damn fights are getting made.
Let me ask you one question.
Yes, sir.
You made Hagler Hearns, right?
Hagler Hearns was a damn good fight, yes.
Who was the promoter?
Bob Arum.
Okay. You made Raylan Hearns, right?
Yes, sir.
Who was the promoter?
I'm not sure. Who was that? That was Arum.
Bob Arum, right? Okay, so all of them was in the Bob Arum game, right?
Okay.
Once again, at that time they was with the right family. Now, you see what I'm saying? Now, back then, if you had any lightweight or welterweight that Don King had, which was guys like Earn Pride, Earn Pride couldn't get in. So Top Rank ran that 140, 147 division. He ran that. He had Hagler Hearns, Duran, and somebody else. And Marvin Hagler, he's the odd man out. He trying to get in.
Got you.
So Marvin Hagler, only way Marvin Hagler can get in was, guess what? He gave Raylan everything that he wanted. The biggest ring, bigger gloves, everything, just to make the fight.
Yes. The story behind it.
So you got to be with the right family.
Yeah, yeah, because you might want to help me out with this. Now, the story behind that is every time the Hagler wanted something, Ray would just give him a couple more dollars, right? But at the
Yes.
same time, Ray would be like, okay, well, I don't like the size of the ring. I don't like these shoes. I don't like these gloves.
Ray Leonard had the
Right?
biggest ring that you ever seen, a 22 by 22. The biggest ring that
What?
you ever seen, a
What?
22 by 22. Then they
When?
fought in what 10 or 12 ounce gloves.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And then he cut it down from 15 to 12.
So Hagler say, look, whatever you want, man. I just want this fight so bad, bro. And
Yeah.
guess what? And guess what? This is what I tell people. One thing about any sport, great players or great athletes can change the game. Right?
Yes,
Now,
they can.
I want to say you one thing. Ray Leonard got a detached retina, right? He said, what did he say happened to him?
Did he say he got it from Hearns, or what did he say happened? Because I'm not sure, man. My
Got
mind.
it from a thumb, right?
Yeah.
So then what they come out with?
Okay, the thumbless gloves. I got you.
Okay. Now, Tommy Hearns, Larry Holmes and Michael Spinks and all them, Ray Leonard said 15 rounds was too much. What'd they do?
Cut it to 12, brother. Cut it to 12. Yeah.
Now, Floyd Mayweather said he need Olympic style testing. Everybody talking about, nah, we ain't gonna do this, we ain't gonna do that. What they doing now?
Well, they're doing it now, but it's not mandatory, though. It's not mandatory.
I think it should be. But what I'm saying is, great athletes can change the game. If you look at basketball, remember college? I remember Maryland and I forget the other team. They used to pass the ball around for 5 minutes. Now, then they can't. Now they got the shot clock, right? So great athletes can change the game, man.
Much like yourself, because you brought attention to the smaller weight class.
I don't think I brought it. I don't think I brought attention. I think that I won, but I think there's a lot of guys that came before me. But if I'd have made them fights that we could have made, then I'd have made a lot of attention. But on the best thing that happened to me was that I was able to adopt the West Coast, because that's where all the smaller guys was at. So when you look at the smaller guys now on the West Coast, my name has to be spoken. But if I'd have stayed on the East Coast, who was that? Who was Mark Johnson? And it kind of remind me the guy from 118, the bad man though, from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania.
Who you talking
about? The 118-pound guy, the champion. I forget his name. Bad man though.
Two of us, brother.
But on the West Coast, man, I'm gonna tell you, man, that guy called him about that form. He know about that form, buddy.
Okay, I think one. I don't know if it was the same brother, but he wanted me to ask you about today's fighters only fighting once a year and all that.
It's ridiculous.
Thank you.
Ridiculous. I'm gonna tell you. See, well, we wasn't making that money they making, but shit, 4 times a year was good for me. And if I stop somebody in the first round, I'm trying to go back the next month.
You said 4 times a year?
That was good, but if I stop somebody early, it might be 6 times a year.
Right.
4 times is a minimum.
Okay.
That's a minimum, but with me, I like, really, to be honest, I like 6 times a year.
Ooh, because James Toney said something one time. He said when he was coming up, you started off at this level, then you got to the C's, the B's, and the A's, right? And then as champions, right? Once you win that belt, you can't keep fighting A's. You gotta give yourself a break sometime and then start fighting the A's again, because you're gonna wear yourself out, right?
I mean, one thing about that is this. This is what I told people all the time, right? I remember. See, right now they got this thing called what they call it, overtrain.
Exactly.
So I don't know. I don't know nothing about overtrain. I used to box 5 days a week. I ain't never heard nothing about overtrain. I don't know what that mean. When you come in the gym, my father look at you. If he look at you a certain way, glove up. And we Monday through Friday. Your ass rest on Saturdays and Sundays. All that overtrain, we ain't know nothing about none of that. Like okay. I probably like if I had a if I probably had a what they call them, the people that work them out. What you call them? strength and conditioning, I'd probably
Yeah,
be still
yeah.
champ. Man, we ain't do no strength and conditioning. Your ass went in the gym, worked out, went home, went to sleep, and you did pull-ups, push-ups. That was the strength and conditioning that your ass had.
Man, they trained you like you was in the military. Because I remember that, the Mooney used to train at the gym I used to go to, in
Man,
Rockville,
that's
right?
my man, Charles Mooney,
Mooney,
man. Hey,
yeah.
listen, let me tell you a story about Charles Mooney, right? So, I'm in Eastern Senior High School. It's my 12th grade year. So they say, well, Mark, you have a credit short, so you can't get a half a day schedule. So you got to go to ROTC. I'm not going no goddamn ROTC, man. I got a Mercedes Benz out there. I ain't trying no ROTC, right? So I said, well, let me go ahead and see what this shit like. So I go down there. So I'm sitting in the back of the class. So the guy come up. He said, what's your name? I said, man, Marcellus Johnson. What's up? Why, what's up? I said, I'm new to the class. He said, okay, my name's so-and-so. I said, all right. I said, I don't even belong in this shit, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't even want to be here. So you want to pick me out, you can pick me out. He hit me with a 1-2. Boom, boom. Stole me. Right. So I say, man, I'm telling you, bro, you an old man, but I'm going to tell you, I'm going to call my father up here tomorrow. He going to whoop your ass. Right? Keep in mind. So my father, he said, I'll be up there. My father said, I'll be up there. He said, what's his name? I said, I don't know his name. A little light-skinned dude. So my father come up there. So when I'm sitting in the back of the class, so my father walking there, he got a bag and shit. I said, yeah, talk your shit now. They got my father right there. Him and my father, they sat on the desk. My father bought a 6-pack out of the bag. They cracked the beer and started drinking that shit, right? I said, man, who is this? He said, Mark, you don't know this? I said, I don't know him. I know he stole me. It was Charles Mooney. He was my ROTC teacher.
That sound like something Mooney would do.
Listen, I never knew who he was, right? He hit me with a 1-2, boom, boom. Man, I called my father up there. They up there drinking beers.
Yeah, man. Tell him about Mooney real quick. He won a silver medal and stuff. But what, in '96 for Sugar Ray and them, right?
76, 1976.
76.
Yep.
That's what I meant to say. Yeah.
One of the best southpaws that came out of Washington D.C.
Mhm.
Like I say, we had Louis Heidi Curtis. He fought 106 pounds from Washington D.C. My father trained him, and don't forget you had the Spinks brothers and Ray Leonard on that team. Yeah.
Yeah, man. He had a tendency of punching people in the chest just to make a point and all that. So yeah.
He hit me in my jaw, bro.
I was too big back then for all that. I was about 225 back then.
Hey,
he wasn't punching me in my jaw.
He hit me in this great beard right here, bro. But right now, I just think that right now, we got a lot of good fights out there that should be made. I look at the Ryan Garcia tank, should have been made. You look at Earl Spence, Crawford should have been made. You look at Tyson Fury. I mean, right now, to me, Tyson Fury to me is the best heavyweight I think out there right now. I don't think nobody gonna beat him. But only person can beat Tyson Fury right now is Tyson Fury. I can't wait to see Benavidez and Caleb Plant. I like both guys. I know Caleb Plant is a good boxer, but Benavidez is so goddamn strong, man. He hit like a mule kick, man. You know what I mean? I think Benavidez will beat Canelo. It's fights that should be made. You know what I mean? That need to be made. Like the Tank Garcia fight, it was made, even though it wasn't a big fight. But you see what it did in DC. DC still is a fight town. You know what I'm saying? And Showtime know it now. Speaking of Steve Espinosa and those guys and talking to those guys, I was like, man, y'all gotta come back. Now, you gotta remember one thing. I'm the first person that won a title in that building, man. We're tanking them for that, the Verizon Center, man. I'm the first person in the history to win a title in that building, man.
Okay, pause for a second.
Yeah.
Okay, now all you youngins that are listening to this, and we'll actually see the replay. This man right here is a bag of history. That's why I love doing this. I didn't know anything about that, brother. I actually thought it was somebody else. To be honest with you, I was thinking about somebody else when you said that.
Well, let me say something else. Let me say something else, man. I break records. That's what I do. Now, I'm the first fight in the history of boxing to ever have open scoring.
Really?
You know what open scoring is, right?
I know exactly what it is.
when I won that second world title, it was open scoring. Now, when you get a chance, go on YouTube and look it up. I fought a guy named Vorpin for the 115-pound title.
Okay.
After 4 rounds, they give you the scores. And then after 8 rounds, they give you the scores.
That's
So
the first time.
I kind of blew the first 8 rounds, I blew him out. And then I kind of got lackadaisical the last 4 because I knew I won the fight. He had to knock me out. So that kind of took away really from the crowd. But yeah, I'm the first person to fight open scoring, man. I'm a bag of history, man.
I tell you what, man. Wow, I didn't know that. I didn't know
Yeah.
that. But you know, your man, Simon Brown, he fought in one of the last 15 rounders when he fought Tyrone Trice over in Paris. So
Yep.
you know, yeah. So you catch out to DC, boy. Yeah, I was something special, man.
Hey man, let me tell you something, man. Simon was that man was strong, man. And I used to watch him all the time in the gym, and he looked so basic. He just looked so basic, but man, the body shots were so hard, bro. You know what I mean? Simon got a gym now in the Hagerstown, Maryland. Our kids go against his kids a lot. He on Main Street, so shout out to my man Simon Brown, man. We coming to get you again, bro.
Yeah. You know who? You know who else got who's training right now? Who I always respected. We was in the same gym together. Andrew
Man,
Council. Yeah.
Andrew Cancel have a lot of great fighters. Andrew Cancel got a hell of a gym. He got the #1 kid.
Yes. I always forget the yes. Sharp, Diamond Sharp.
Hey, Andrew got a mob, man. Andrew got about 15 dogs over there. I'm talking about.
Let me tell you what.
Dogs. I'm talking about 15 that can be world champions.
Woo!
Yeah.
Andrew was no joke when he was younger. We used to go to Philly because Philly, man. You can't win no fair fights in Philly, right?
Yeah.
We used to get robbed up in Philly, straight up, right? So Andrew had us all on the back of the van one day. He's like, "Look, man, we ain't gonna play with him today." So I think he fought first that day, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think that fight must have lasted 30 seconds, Mark. Boom, boom. And Andrew, because Andrew could punch.
Oh, he definitely can punch. Let me tell you what happened one time. One time I'm in the gym sparring. I'm sparring a guy who passed away, big light heavyweight guy named Redman, Ruben Bell. So me and Ruben Bell, we working.
Yeah.
So I'm like, yeah, he got killed. So I'm like, Redman, man. I'm like, man, look, man, you keep going all hard, man, lighten up, man. So we working. I said, I call Andrew. Hey, Drew, man, come over tomorrow, man. I called Andrew over there. He was my backup. Andrew came over there and stopped him in 1 round. I said, yeah. I said, all right, thanks, Drew.
That sound just like him because the dude could punch. I never sparred with him, but I've seen him in the ring. I seen him in Rockville, and like I said, I see him in Philly. He can punch.
Yeah, he can punch, man.
And he knocked out, a friend of the show here, Buddy McGirt.
Yeah, Buddy, man. Buddy, my man, hey, man, me and Buddy had so much fun at the Hall of Fame, man. When I went in the Hall of Fame, man, me and Buddy had so much fun. I had him and Marlon Starling about to fight.
Get out of here, man.
I swear. Listen. I say, Buddy. Marlon say he'll knock you out. Buddy say, he'll come with that Marlon stomp. And I'd be like, what? Knock him out. So every time I seen both of them, that's all I said. We was in the Hall of Fame. They about to fight each other.
And Buddy got a sense of humor, but he from New York like me, man. So, yeah.
Yeah, I ain't mess with you guys, man.
Yeah, because I used to spend my summers over there, like in Chillum and Langley Park area.
Oh yeah, okay, all right.
Yeah.
You wasn't coming in the real heart of DC. You was like on the outskirts.
Outskirts, but them cats could fight too. Because they always.
You wasn't coming over Southeast, huh?
Nah, brother, no.
I wasn't either.
I come in the Southeast back in the 80s. No, sir.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, man.
But I tell you what, man, I keep hopping back to the brother Johnny Tapia because I definitely would have loved to see y'all two get it on. Were y'all ever close to fighting or anything like that, or was it just a pipe dream or whatever?
Man, we talked a lot. It was a pipe dream. I mean, one thing about him though, I think if we'd have got the promoters out the way, that's what I say about Earl Spence and Crawford. Get the people out the way. Let's me and you sit down like, man, let's make this fight. You know what I mean? We got to survive. We got to take care of our family. You know what I mean? So Johnny Tybee is one of those guys that I know he would never, back down from nothing. You know what I mean? So I know for a fact that it definitely probably wasn't him. It probably was his handlers. You know what I mean? Um, but I think if he was still around, man, probably could have sat down and say, "Look, man, let's make this thing happen, man," because we was good friends. You know, we was cool. You know what I mean? So, but I think we could have made it happen. But God rest his soul, man. I'm chilling, man.
Yeah, you was
I
you was
wish we could have made it. I wish we could have made it. I wish shit, I would have went up to Prince Ahmed, 126. You know what I'm saying? I'd have went up there.
Ooh, that's a
You know what I mean?
that's a big order because you know where his power came from, Mark. Of course, he
His
do his
legs.
them big old thighs, big old legs, because they
Well,
were like tree trunks, brother.
well,
They were like tree trunks.
I tell you what, when you watch that fight when I fought Vorpin shins is the size of my thighs. Yeah, and that boy can hit. You know what I mean? And it was a tough fight. I outboxed him. You know what I mean? One thing about me, the only time I had really bad experiences was I fought on CBS and I broke my hand, and I thought that was a bad fight for me. But I always wanted to show wanted to show the fans what I was and who I was. So every time that I went out there, I had to make a mark on who I was and what I was gonna do.
Okay, now when you said you broke your hand, was that your punch hand or was that your jab hand?
It was my jab hand, which is really my strongest hand. You know what I mean?
Right.
But at this point, man, like with me, I wasn't making no 2-3 million. I wasn't making no millions. I wasn't making no half a million. So, shit, you got to put that shit in the back pocket, bro. It's time to fight. You know what I mean? I fix that shit tomorrow. You know what I mean? Now, if I was getting that money they get now, then maybe I could have said, shit, I quit. But, now, we wasn't getting that money. You got to go out to your ass, got to fight.
You said that was your jab hand. So, how did you navigate the fight without your jab hand being at full strength, Mark?
Well, I just use a lot. I switched to right-handed. You know what I mean, and use my my jabbing hand as my left hand, just outboxing with my jabbing hand.
Yeah.
Most of the guys that I fought, they was very strong. I can outbox them, but I think I can also frustrate them. So I think I did a little more frustrating, than a lot beat that out of.
Now you said something earlier that I want to touch on because that was sneaky, but yeah, because most fighters wouldn't see it coming. You said you fought straight up. You was a right-handed fighter, right?
Yeah, I fought southpaw. I fought southpaw, but I'm right-handed.
Right, but you had that mean right hook. Where the hell you get a right hook from, man?
Because that's my power shot. You know what I mean? Like everybody looking for the left hand, but like I said, my power hand was my jab and my right hook. So I'm southpaw. So they looking at the left hand, but now everything is in the right hand, baby. You know what I mean? So everybody was looking like, well, watch his left hand. I'm like, okay, watch his left hand. But all the time, like, as a southpaw, a lot of fighters, they move to your right because they try to get away from your left hand, which is your power hand. But to me, they was moving to my right hook, which was my power hand. So they looking like I'm getting away from his left hand, which is his power hand. But when you going to your left, you going to my right hand, which is my power hand. So if you going this way and I throw a right hook, that's my power hand.
Yeah, because you basically snuck him. What you did was you used to stick the jab out there and guide him right into that damn right hook.
There you go.
Yeah.
Boom. Yeah. So that's my power hand.
Yeah. Okay. The same brother, Puerto Rican Rum, wanted me to ask you about. You ever thought of fighting Junior Jones, or I was going to ask you about this brother, Kennedy McKinney.
Man, let me tell you something. I watched Kennedy McKinney in the '88 Olympic trials. Right. We was in the '88 trials together. I watched him beat one of my best friends, Jamal Hinton, in the '88 Olympic trials. That's how Kennedy McKinney went to the trials. I watched Kennedy McKinney fight Marco Antonio Barrera. No, I never thought about fighting Kennedy McKinney. I did think about fighting Junior Jones though, but Kennedy McKinney, no. I knew Junior Jones can punch. Me and Junior Jones sparred together a couple of times. I knew he could punch, but I knew Junior Jones didn't have a best chin. But Kennedy McKinney, hell no.
Why not, brother? Why not? What did he bring that made you say hell no?
Man, he brought everything to the table. He brought speed, power, can box, heart, everything. And if you watch him in the Marco Antonio Barrera fight, the guy who sent you to ask me that, he didn't know. That fight was a war. No, I ain't never think about Kennedy McKinney.
I think you could have beat the brother. The brother was very skillful, but unlike you, when he had somebody hurt, he got a little reckless and he left he left all this open. So I think you could have beat him, brother.
Well, to me, I think when I came at 112, you know what I'm saying, I was making 110, 112, 118 wasn't a good weight for me. I was too small. So that's the only reason why I didn't think about it. But Kenny McKinney, man, we fought in the amateurs, man. He was a beast, man. I know, and I ain't duck nobody, but nah, I ain't not thinking about him.
I tell you what, man, I got to get you back on the show with these other two brothers, with Junior Jones, who you mentioned,
Okay.
and Kevin Kelly.
Man, let me tell you something, man.
Yeah.
Listen, I talk to these dudes almost every day, man. You know what I mean? Me and Kevin Kelly talk damn near every day. Me and Junior Jones talk like every week. You know what I mean? So one thing about the boxing world is that, you know, I stay in contact with these guys. I talk to Tarver maybe once a week. I talk to Winky Wright, James Toney, you know, Ray Mercer, Layman Brewster. So, you know, I talk to a lot of these guys all the time. That's all we do, call each other and talk trash to each other. And then can't wait till we see each other out of town. And then we talk trash again. You know what I mean? So, like the Las Vegas Hall of Fame, I had a good time with all those guys last year. And tell you a guy right there who's asking these questions. What's his name?
Puerto Rican Rum. That's his name.
Tell Puerto Rican Rum, man, he asking some very good questions, man. But tell him Puerto Rican Rum, nah, I ain't thinking about that. Kenny McKinney, man. And
Okay,
you know what? I'm gonna tell you.
Hmm?
I will say one thing. Out of a lot of guys that I sparred and I fought, Marco Antonio Barrera and Rafael Marquez hit the hardest.
That dude is very compact and thick for someone that's small, man.
Man, he can punch.
He is.
He can punch.
Yeah, because I saw his fight with Junior, and I saw his fight with Eric Morales, right?
He can punch, buddy.
Yeah, back then.
You ain't gotta tell me, buddy.
Yeah. But but you felt it through the TV screen, but they hated each other. They hated each other, brother.
But you know, this is the main thing. This is the main thing. What I liked about those guys in their career, and I liked about their relationship and their friendship, it was business in the ring.
Straight
outside the ring. Hey, how you doing, man? You know, thanks, man. You gave me another good payday. Oh shit, they want to do it again. We're gonna do it again. I'm gonna beat your ass again. But outside the ring, you know, it's just one good thing.
Yeah. Now, Mark, I got to call a flag on something you said. You said you talked to Kevin, right?
Yeah.
Kim, we all know that Kevin are talking. You don't talk to Kevin. Kevin talk to you. Well, that's my boy. So yeah, that's my boy. So I can say that about him.
I will say one thing. I can talk, but I can't get a word in with Kevin. Hey, I can talk, but I can't get a word in with Kevin.
No. Because you know what I call him, right? I call him Stevie Wonder, man. You know, once he get on that mic, boy, that brother don't stop, boy. I love him, man. I love Kevin. I love him, boy.
Hey, look, man, I'm trying to tell you, man. Hey, every time I see Kevin, I say, man, you gonna try to sell me a beach house or something, man? You gonna try to sell me a timeshare, man? But yeah, man,
James,
you know,
James Toney again, right?
Yeah, it's my man, man. James Toney, my man.
No, yeah, but you always joke with James because when I first met him, you know, I typed on his Facebook that I was sparring for a suit because I didn't think he was going to answer me back, right?
Right.
He said, I'll kick your ass for that suit. So I said, okay.
Hey, look, that's him. Hey, look. Hey, listen, we had so much. But James Toney used to get mad at me at the LA Forum because he said, man, you fight too good not to talk trash. And I was like, well, I really never was a talker. I just let the forum pick people up. I just knock them down. I wasn't really no talker and talk trash. You know what I'm saying? So that's what happened with that, man. But you know, I just kept it moving like that, man.
Yeah, man. You know, I'm gonna tell you a quick joke about James and me. I called him up one time to get him on the show, right?
Uh-huh.
I called him up and I was like, yeah, James, been 3 years. You know, when am I gonna get that suit? He said, look, man, shit, I'll get you a suit. I'll get you a hat. And I'll get you and I'll get you a coffin too, because I get my tailor right here. You know, he could measure you right now. I said, James, you know I'm gonna tell my mama on you, right? You know what?
Hey, man, let me say something. We had so much fun, man. And at Vegas last year, man, when I say we had a ball, man. We had a ball, man. You know what I mean? So yeah, man, we got keep this thing going. You got the info, you got the number. Hey, listen, man.
Definitely will, brother. Definitely will.
Hey, this is the chant right here. Puerto Rican Rum. You know what I'm saying? You got any more questions, man? You know, Mark Shoeshop Johnson.
He got one more
Instagram.
question for you, and that's another damn good question. He said, "Do you ever try to fight, Orlando Tyson?"
Canizales.
Yes, Gonzalez. Yeah, that was another monster.
You know what? I was young when Orlando Canizales came out. I was still an amateur, and he beat the guy that I talked about, Louis Heidi Curtis. And Orlando Canizales had a brother that could fight too. It was two of them.
Yes, it
So
was. Yes, it
it was
was.
it,
Yeah.
there was two of those guys. So, but I was an amateur then when he came out. I was much younger, but yeah, he fought Louis Heidi Curtis. He beat Heidi Curtis, Canizales. Yep.
I
He
tell
can
you
bump.
what, all these names are flashing me back. Boy, they some good damn names, man. Let me tell you, man. I'm so frustrated with boxing today because we can't, as fans, right? Because I'm still a fan of the sport. I don't really like the whole social media yada yada because it's too much. It's too much foolishness, right? But just as an overall pure fan of the sport, like if someone like you, I could talk boxing with you and Kevin all day, but we just can't get the fights that we want, and it's so frustrating, man. And now, as fans, what can we do? Coming from you, the champion, the boxer, what can we do as fans to get those fights made?
I think the only thing that we could do is we gotta let the networks know that we're not gonna subscribe for them. We're not gonna buy the pay-per-view. And that's the only way we see. Only way that you're gonna make the right fights is you're not gonna get the right fights. You got to hit them in their pocket. You got to hit them in their pocket. So if we don't buy those fights, or we don't subscribe to Showtime or FS1 or PBC, then how they gonna get the money? You can't make money if we don't subscribe. But guess what we do? We always just like you just said, we're not making the right fights, but you'll still buy it. You know what you say, man? I don't want to watch this fight, but we'll still watch it.
That's called
And they still,
settling. That's called settling.
and they still getting the ratings, and they still getting the buyers, and they still getting the people that watched it. So it's up to us to say, guess what, man? As a boxing fan, let's go back and say, listen, we're not gonna buy these fights, we're not gonna do these fights unless we get in the right fights.
Yeah. And the only way to do that is just not to pay for the fights that they give us that we don't want, right?
That's it. That's it.
So, I
You got, you
mean,
got, you got, you got to hit them in their pocket, man.
yeah, because I'm thinking like back in the day, fights like, okay, this was in DC, Mark. Simon Brown, the rematch with Tyrone Trice.
Yeah.
That
At the
today
convention
would have
center.
been on pay-per-view.
Yeah.
That fight today would have been on pay-per-view. And then you take the other fights we used to see, Julian Jackson, Terry Norris. That probably would have been on pay-per-view too, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just stuff like every single thing's on pay-per-view now, and it's not everything is pay-per-view. It's just
I
not.
mean, to me, I look at it like, you know, like you said, we're settling, and we almost begin to be manipulated like the WWE or the WWF. We almost manipulated where, okay, we'll settle for anything. So the WWF, they go around to every arena every other week and make millions and millions of dollars, and we already know who's gonna win.
Yes, sir. Yes, we do. You know what? You know what, Mark? And they so bold with it that while the match is going on, they'll say that a fighter that's fighting right now in the match is having a championship match next week. That's how bold they are with it.
But see, one thing about boxing is this: you have so many belts now because you got to look at, like you said, we talk about boxing, but let's talk about the belts. People that don't know boxing, they don't know boxing. But all they hear is it's going to be a championship fight. It could be for the Budweiser belt. It could be for the Nike belt. But people don't understand. All they understand is it's going to be a championship fight. So now I can give all these young kids belts that all of them pay sanctioning fees, and I'm still making money. So I was going to come out with a DC belt. I come out with a DC belt. I'm still getting sanctioning fees. I can still have 15 belts. I mean, like everybody else doing it, why I can't do it?
Yeah, because you know what, man, I got a picture of you, in the thumbnail holding the IBF. Now, whatever
Mhm.
happened to the IBF, man? Because all you hear about now is a green belt, which all these youngins coming up, they don't really realize that green belt was controlled by Don King. I don't care about the Suleimans. Don King controlled that green belt back in the day, and you know that for a fact. You know that for a fact. But how did it jump from being the second best to all of a sudden as the gold standard for belts?
Because he's a businessman. He's a businessman. Um, you got the WBC Silver, WBC Youth, WBC Gold, WBC this, the WBC that. He's a businessman. All those WBCs he's getting sanctioning fees for. And he's a great guy. He's a great guy with me. You know what I mean? He's a great guy. You know, so I look forward to him. I gotta get ready to get off this phone. This is my boss calling me, which is my wife.
Yes, yes, sir. Yes.
So let me call in, let her know. Let me open the gate. Back on here with you. Say no more.
Okay, cool, Mark. Now, real quick, if you have any social media where people can find you, you want to drop that before you jump off here?
Oh yeah, man. What is it? Mark Two Shop Johnson at. Let me see. Nah, it's easy. The real Two Shop at Gmail. That's my easiest one.
And you know anything on IT or anything like that or Twitter?
Man, I don't know that stuff, man. My kids run that stuff.
All right, well, bless up, man. And thank you, Marvin McDowell, for giving me the brother number.
Hey, listen, man, we're gonna do this again. I got your number locked in. Let's do it, man. Hey, tell your man, man, send me some of them questions, man. I like his questions.
Okay, yeah, man. I tell him to send you a bottle of Puerto Rican rum too.
My man, Puerto Rican rum.
All right, brother.
Tell him I need some of that rum too, man.
All right, Mark. Thank you, brother. Thank you so much, man.
No problem.
All right, Mark. I tell you what, this is the part of the business I love doing, man, because Mark was full of just information, man. There's a lot of stuff that people go back and forth on social media saying they're having boxing conversations. They're not having boxing conversations, they just arguing. What you just heard from Mark, if you listen to the replay and all that, there's a ton of information about things that we wouldn't even know about. Well, here he is dropping all that science and he just rolls with it, man. He makes it fun, And that's what I love doing this for. That's why I ain't into the arguments and the foolishness, because of people like Mark and other fighters I've had on the show. That's my love for it, man. So y'all send some love out to Mark Two Sharp Johnson. We're definitely gonna have him back on the show. He's a good brother. He's a down-to-earth brother. And I'm gonna be honest with you. If y'all have any suggestions for fighters you want me to get on the show, just drop it in here. TroyGraham50@gmail.com. That's my email. TroyGraham50@gmail.com. Right? Just drop your information in there. Drop your thoughts in there about the show, how I can make it better, how I can grow it, and drop me some names of fighters you want to see. And I'll work on it. I promise nothing, but I do promise you I'll work hard to get them on the show. So just thank everybody for coming out, man. Much respect to Mark Johnson for his time, right? Much respect for my brother Marvin McDowell. He made the hookup. And for everybody that came out, go through the names here so I don't miss anybody. And you didn't shout me out. Well, I'm sorry. All right. Ladies of Italk, Russia Princess, and all the ladies over there, big up and bless up yourself, right? Puerto Rican rum, him with all the good questions, I'm gonna call him. That's your new name, that's your Native American name. Him with all the good questions, Puerto Rican rum. Bless up yourself. Italk, I'm gonna guess that's my man Joe right there, so much respect. Phil Call Roberts, much respect to you. All right. Ladies, Italk again. Black Star Sports TV, much respect. Khan Shanery, respect. And then, of course, Mark Nash chimed in. Much respect to you, Mark. Much respect. Guido! Much respect there, Guido. Much respect. Mo Gucci, much respect, man. Much respect. And there's a host of others. Jess from the ladies at Italk. Y'all got to check them out. It's ITOK. I think the ladies come on alternating days, but Wednesday, I don't make myself a liar, but ITOK, if you only knew, that's Italk. Check them out. I believe they start at 9:30. And then you have the ladies at Italk that might come on alternating days. Check them out as well. Good talk for adult-minded people. Ain't no just adult-minded people, you know. So go check them out. You never know what you get when you get over there. Never know, my dear. He never know. So much respect to everyone that's gonna see the replay. Thank you, Puerto Rican Rum, man. I couldn't get all your questions, but I got in as many as I could. So thank you, man. Thank you for your time, because you know you can spend money and make money, but you can't make time back. So thank you for sharing that with me. It means a lot. Respect. See you next time. I'm working on some more shows, so you're gonna see me more frequently. So respect, respect.